Yo, what is up guys? It's me, Zachley, back bringing some more daily NBA news and highlights. Hope you're all having a fantastic day, but as always, you guys already know why I'm here, to bring you guys some more NBA news and highlights. So with all of that being said, let's not waste any more time, let's just get right into it. And let's start off this video with some good news. Well, maybe not necessarily good news because it still kind of sucks that we even have to talk about this in the first place, but I guess it kind of is a feel-good story to kick things off. As Victor Oladipo, who went down earlier on in the week with what was diagnosed as a ruptured quadricep tendon, posted to Instagram for the first time since his injury, and in this post he was saying things like, "I can't lie, the last few months have been really tough, not only for me but for my family as well. You give it your all, literally your blood, sweat, and tears into the game you love, and things like this happen. No matter how hard you work and how much effort you put into perfecting your craft, you cannot predict the challenges you'll face ahead, but there is always that point in time where you wonder why it's happening to you. You even wonder if there was something you could have done differently to prevent the outcome. The confusion, the contemplation, the anger, the sadness, and all the tears that flow frequently come, but they never last." Also saying, "It's time for me to truly practice what I preach and trust my God in heaven and the plan he has for me. I will be back better than ever, and if you question that, well, thank you. Greater is he that is in me than is in the world. I am #unbreakable." Now I know comparing injuries to one another is never a good thing to do because no two injuries are alike, and not to mention the injuries that I'm about to mention aren't even the same injury, but I'm just saying it seems like NBA players these days have a much easier time bouncing back from devastating injuries like this. The medicine has advanced, physical therapy has advanced, so they really have a much greater chance of getting back to the player they were and even surpassing that later in the future today than they did even 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. So I don't really doubt the fact that Victor Oladipo will be back better than ever eventually. He might start off slow, but in the end, he'll get there. Look at players like Zach LaVine, how he came back from his ACL tear. DeMarcus Cousins, has only been 3 or 4 games so far, but he's already looking really good considering he had a ruptured Achilles. The only real outlier I can think of is Gordon Hayward, but he's in a very specific situation, one that I don't think Victor Oladipo will be a part of when he returns for the Indiana Pacers, so Gordon Hayward isn't the best comparison. So Oladipo is going to be fine. As for the Indiana Pacers, I just want to see them get a better starting point guard to play alongside Victor Oladipo, and not only that, I hope that in this time, Miles Turner can somehow figure out his offensive game because he's got to get a lot better. Okay guys, so how often do you see an MVP level NBA player request a trade? Actually, now that I think about it, happens quite often in today's NBA. But anyways guys, how often do you see someone who maybe isn't quite MVP level just yet, but how often do you see a future MVP level player such as Thon come out and request a trade? That's not one you see very often. Yep. Thon of the Milwaukee Bucks just requested a trade, and his manager let it be known that he wants to be traded to any place that will give him a legitimate opportunity to play. Now, I was just mocking the fact that Thon was proclaimed to be a future MVP by fans just a few seconds ago, but seriously, I wonder why the guy has never been able to tap into all of that potential that he had. There are games that he does look really good, where he shows glimpses of the player that he can be. He had a game not too long ago that he scored 15 points and grabbed 5 rebounds in just 18 minutes off the bench. So he has games every now and then where he looks like he actually might become something, but then the rest of the time, he just, well, doesn't really look like anything. So hopefully a change of scenery will do him good. As for what the Milwaukee Bucks can hope to get in exchange for Thon right now, well, they're looking at something along the lines of an expired bag of ranch Fritos. You know what though, let's keep the good vibes rolling in this video. We talked about that Victor Oladipo story to start off the video, and now we're gonna talk about another feel-good story. And this one, kinda like the Victor Oladipo story, it sucks that we even have to talk about it in the first place, but it's still good that something good is coming out of it. Anyways, after Jeremy Lin, who was very familiar with racism when it comes to playing basketball, especially at the NBA and even at the collegiate level, you know, with the whole Asians can't hoop stereotype. What are you doing playing basketball? whatever they're gonna say. Anyways, after Lin, once again, someone who was very familiar with things like that, heard what was happening to two high school basketball players, Nathan Stockman and Bobby Jefferson II. Nathan Stockman being the only Asian on the basketball team and Bobby being the only African American on the basketball team, and Nathan saying that he and Bobby do receive their fair share of taunts and teases and racial slurs thrown their way during the game. Nathan saying that whenever he is in front of the students section during the games and he will miss a shot, the other students might say something along the lines of, "You missed your shot because you can't see. This is the USA, go back to China." If your way of insulting someone or trying to get into someone's head is telling them to go back to a country that they most likely weren't even born in the first place, you're dumb. And Bobby, on the other hand, who, like I said, is the only African American on the basketball team, said that he got disrespected by a police officer in front of the rest of the basketball team, as he said he heard a random voice from behind him telling him to move out of the way, to which Bobby replied, "For what?" and then saw that it was a white uniformed police officer. Quote, "I stood my ground and I started laughing because I'm like, this has to be a joke. Me and my teammates around me who witnessed it, we all thought this has to be a joke." He then said that the cop slapped the basketball out of his hands and said, "You should learn a little respect. I know it's hard for you though." Detroit smash to the face. That's what I want to do, but that's not what I do because I know the officer will most likely be looking for a response along those lines. So I'd have to think of something else real quick. But that's not even the end of this, as it got to the point where not too long ago during their games, the crowd of the team that they were playing against was openly shouting slurs and making fun of the players. And I'm not just talking about loud enough where only the other players could hear. No, I'm talking about loud enough where everyone in the gym could hear it. And what's even crazier about this is that it lasted for 3 quarters. It took 3 quarters for the officials, for a teacher, for a grown-up at the game, for anyone to step in and do something about this. The report said that one coach on their team was pretty much willing to catch a case for this. For you two, I'm willing to go up into the stands and punch one of them because I grew up with the same stuff and I'm not going to let this come on to you. And Bobby and Nathan did say that their other coaches, as well as their teammates, were very supportive throughout the whole things and they had their back. But once again, it took 3 quarters for something to be done about this. How does that happen? And it got to the point where Nathan's mom came into his room one night and told him this: "I'm so sorry I had to make you Asian. I never wanted this." I ain't trying to make none of you guys tear up out here. I ain't trying to get you all in your feelings or anything like that. I'm just saying that if my mom ever came in my room and told me what his mom just told him, I have no idea what I would respond. Well, I guess it could make a lot of sense. I like anime. Middle name is Lee. And I really want to go to Japan one day. No, but all seriousness, that's real tough. And I can imagine what anyone would even say in that situation. That's awful. And that is pretty much why I wanted to cover this, because we never really talk about the good things happening in the NBA or the good things that players are doing for others. Jeremy Lin took these kids not only to an Atlanta Hawks game, but he also invited them to dinner because he said that it wouldn't be right just talking to them at the game. He couldn't really get into it because it's so busy, there's so many people, and he really wanted to have a one-on-one sit down with these kids and their family. And Jeremy Lin going out of his way not just to reach out, but to really reach out and try to get to know the people that he's reaching out to and their families. That's great stuff right there. A lot of people, pretty much everyone else in this world, myself included, could learn a lot from Jeremy Lin. Man's a hero. That though is going to do it for all of the off the court news that we have to cover today. So now let's just take a look at everything that's going on the court. Let's take a look at the games from last night. Golden State Warriors eked out the win over the Boston Celtics, 115-111. Steve Kerr saying that this was a good game for the Warriors because they needed to be challenged after facing the Lakers, who are minus LeBron, and the Washington Wizards, who were without John Wall. Durant, on the other hand, said that it was a good win and it feels good now, but they will forget about it in the morning. I'm not too sure how I feel about that, but I guess to the Warriors at this point, no regular season games must really stick out any more than the rest. Some of them are more fun than others in the moment, but they know that they're the 5 all-star warriors. What else needs to be said? Durant also scoring 33 points in this one, while Kyrie Irving had 32 points and 10 assists for Boston. Nikola Jokic returned after serving his 1-game suspension to drop 32 points, as well as 18 rebounds and 10 assists against the Joel Embiid-less and Jimmy Butler-less Philadelphia 76ers. Joel Embiid sitting out this game not because of injury or anything, he was just felt like he needed the day off. Shout out once again to Jahlil Okafor. He has been making the most of Anthony Davis being out for the Pelicans and maybe breathing one last breath of air into his career in the process, as Okafor, in the 4 games that he's played, had a 20-point and 10-rebound game against Memphis, a 17-point, 10-rebound, and 6-block game against Detroit, an 18-point and 8-rebound game against the Thunder, and now a 24-point, 15-rebound, and 3-block game against the Spurs. Unfortunately though, the Pelicans lost all but one of those games, including this one. 126-114, the Spurs win behind LaMarcus Aldridge and his 28 points. The Indiana Pacers' first game without Victor Oladipo didn't go so well, as they just lost to the Memphis Grizzlies, who were on an 8-game losing streak coming into this one. 106-103, the final score. Mike Conley with 22 points and 11 assists. And lastly, Damian Lillard, who will be in the 3-point contest this year, and Trae Young, who will be participating in the skills challenge, went head-to-head earlier, and the outcome was what you would expect, as Lillard and the Blazers were able to get the 120-111 win over Atlanta despite Young dropping 30 points and 10 assists. CJ McCollum recording the first triple-double of his career in this game with 28 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists. That though is going to do it for everything that we gotta talk about today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, as well as make sure that you are subscribed to the channel with post notifications turned on so you can stay up to date with everything that goes on in the NBA on a daily basis. And now it is time for the player of the day, where you guys have the opportunity to vote for who you think was the best player in the league last night by clicking the little eye icon in the top right hand corner of the video. Just remember though, the only players whose team won are eligible to win player of the day, and yesterday that player was Luka Doncic, as his 32 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists got the Dallas Mavericks to win over the Detroit Pistons. Thank you once again for watching though. You guys already know that you are the real MVPs, but that being said, until tomorrow, I am out of here. Peace!